Eugene, Oregon, pros and cons. This is an update from 3 years ago. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Lauri Howes and I'm a realtor with United Real Estate Properties here in the Eugene, Oregon area. And I'm going to go over some new cons that I've come up with along with some great pros. So let's get started. So quickly, let's go over those past cons. I think number one was rain. It still rains here and it's dark and gloomy during the winter, but we all get along just fine. Allergies was number two. It still happens. Willamette Valley produces the most grass seed in the world, and there is a lot of pollen that goes along with that. Number three was parking. There's still no downtown parking. It's still the same. Unfortunately, our homeless population hasn't changed much, and we still have a housing shortage. And all of that was 3 years ago, and not much has changed since then. So let's move on to the updated cons. Since my last pros and cons video, Oregon passed Measure 110. 58% of the voters voted in decriminalizing small amounts of illicit drugs. The thought was to keep people out of prison and into drug rehab. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that well. So they're working on trying to repeal that. Number two is the cost of living. The cost of living in Eugene is relatively high compared to the rest of the United States. We are 6.6% higher than the national average. Income needs for a family of four is about $88,000 in order to live comfortably. Which brings us to number three, which is the housing. We still have a shortage on housing. Everybody expected the housing market to crash. That didn't happen. The typical home price right now is Eugene for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet to 1,500 square feet is $459,000. And if you're looking to just rent an apartment, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment is going to run you about $1,500 a month. And number four is natural disasters. For years, we just lived like everything was perfectly fine here. They talk about earthquakes all the time, the big earthquake. So it's a good idea to be prepared. We learned that being prepared for a natural disaster is very important after our ice apocalypse in January, when we ended up living 8 days without any electricity. There were people in town that ended up almost 2.5 to 3 weeks without electricity, and in the small towns around Eugene. So preparing for the natural disaster that might come is a pretty good idea. Since 2020, when the Holiday Farm Fire ripped up the McKenzie, we really didn't have much natural disasters going on here. But since the Holiday Farm Fire, we've had fires pretty close to the city every year since 2020. So I guess we should add natural disasters to our list of cons. And number five, we're gonna call it traffic. Traffic in Eugene, it seems to be getting busier and busier every year. The surface streets are crowded. Coburg Road is always crowded all day long. If you get up really early in the morning and get down there by 9, you can pretty much maneuver yourself around pretty easily. But after that, it's crowded. The Beltline, there isn't nearly a day that goes by that there isn't a wreck on the Beltline. The Beltline is literally the road that connects Springfield to Eugene to West Eugene. So it is one 4-lane highway, 2 lanes both directions, and lots of off-ramps and on-ramps, and people just, I don't know what's going on, but they may be going a little too fast, they may be going a little too slow, but there's wrecks nearly every day. And 126 is the same way, coming off the McKenzie Highway to I-105 out to West Eugene to get to the coast. Again, 126 wrecks, especially when it comes to the weekend, almost daily. I would say traffic is an issue. But the ups, now let's get to those pros, the fun things to do in Eugene or experience. So the pros, back when I did this 3 years ago, are still pros as well. So we had recreation, outdoor recreation, indoor recreation is a big thing in Eugene, hiking, biking, kayaking. We still do it all. Eugene's location, I think, is one of the best locations in Oregon. You are still just an hour from the Cascade Mountains, hiking, camping, and 1 hour to the Oregon coast, which is an amazing place to visit. People are still high on the performing arts. We still have the Holt Center and a lot of little venues around town. And of course, still back to recreation, outdoor recreation. Dog walking is a big thing in Eugene. You go through the neighborhoods, even on my neighborhood tours that I do, I will always see people out walking their dogs. And people are still enjoying their breweries and their wineries. So let's add to that with 5 more pros. We'll just keep that outdoor theme going on. Bicycling. People love to bicycle here. There are paths all through Eugene. You can get just about anywhere on the bike paths or on the streets of Eugene. So if you're big into bikes and you don't want to get your car out, bicycling is a #1 sport here. And my favorite are the farmers markets. There is the Lane County Farmers Market, which is downtown at 8th and Oak. There is the Whitaker Farmers Market, which is in the Whit, and out on River Road is the OG Corner Market, which is also a farmers market with all sorts of fresh produce. And there is still no sales tax in Oregon. That's a good thing when you're out shopping. And #4, higher education. There's New Hope Christian College. There's the private Bushnell University, which is a Christian university. Gutenberg College, which we have Lane Community College, and of course we have the University of Oregon. Go Ducks. The biggest change since I did my pros and cons 3 years ago is we can pump our own gas. Not that I want to pump my own gas. I wasn't really for it, but it was an overwhelming majority that voted in pump your own gas. Thankfully, a lot of the gas stations still have a lane or two where you can drive up and they'll pump your gas, but for the most part, people seem to like it. I just don't like getting out in the winter when it's windy and rainy. So if you want to see my pros and cons from 3 years ago, you can click it right up there. And thank you so much again for watching my real estate YouTube channel. And if you need any help with real estate, my contact information is in that description box below. And Jamie Howes Kenworthy, my daughter, is also a realtor, and we work together quite often. So her contact information is down there as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos that we put out weekly. You all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.